It is another cold November day, close to Thanksgiving. We're stuck inside again because it's so freaking cold, and by we I mean me and my 2-year-old child. Send help. So I decided to go ahead and do another video. This time I'm going to do a books I need to reread in 2022. I'm gonna do this as more of like an accountability for myself. There's obviously like a lot of really good books here that I think everyone should read, so I'm going to recommend these books as I talk to you about them. But mostly I really want this video to be like an accountability video, and I'm thinking I'm gonna do quite a few of these in December. So lots of lists of books. Hopefully if you're watching, you'll find some books that you want to read and you can read along with me. With the reread books, definitely tell me if you've already read them or if you're planning to read them so that I can read them along with you. That would be awesome. Anyways, there are a couple of classics. I'll give you a fair warning. I always reread a couple of classics every year. I promise I am not pretentious about it. I just like classics. I don't know if it's like my love of history or my love of just like, I'm just a hopeless romantic. There's just things I like about reading a classic. I'll leave those to the end of the video, so if you just want to watch the new books that I want to reread in 2022, you can just tag along, and once I get to the classics, you can just click off if you want. So let's get started. Anyways, I've got 12 books, so what the goal is to read one of these books every month, and you have to hold me to it because I've made this goal last year and I did not follow through. So here we go. Oh, I can even get these right. The first is a duology. We're gonna do 6 of Crows. I don't remember much of these books, actually. I did read them, don't remember much of them. And I think it's because I went through like a haze of reading where it was just like reading is breathing and breathing is reading. And sometimes when I do that, I don't absorb the way I probably should. I do remember enjoying them because I did buy both 6 of Crows and The Crooked Kingdom. I annotated a little bit. This was when I did my tabs. I don't do these anymore. But yeah, I'm excited to reread these. Everyone reread these in 2021 with the new show coming out, but I didn't. I should have when everyone else was doing it, but I didn't. So we're gonna do this brand new, and we'll reread these ones. If you're interested in rereading these with me, look me up on Instagram and DM me, and we can do that together. But if you don't know, this is like a ragtag found family group who, for my remembrance, is involved in a heist. And also this is from the Grisha universe, so they have different magical powers. Some of them do, some of them don't. When I reread them, maybe I'll do a vlog, and you guys can all watch me figure that out, refigure that one out. The next is, once again, during that haze of reading, I did read Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor and Muse of Nightmares. And I remember absolutely loving these, and I love lyrical writing. If you can't tell, I annotated this one as well. I fold corners when I don't have a highlighter, so there's some folded corners. And I want to reread it because I love beautiful lyrical writing, and Laini Taylor does that. I literally just read her other series, Smoke and Bone, the Smoke and Bone series? Hold on. Yeah, Daughter of Smoke and Bone series. And that's one of my favorite reads for this year. So definitely want to reread these because I think I'm going to love them just as much. Like I said, I kind of just blew through them because I love them so much, and I want to reread them just to get more out of them than I did when I initially read them. The next book is The Lovely War, or Lovely War by Julie Berry. This was the most surprising book that I read. Honestly, I just want to reread it because I enjoyed it so much. So I actually do remember it quite a bit. This is World War II from the perspective of Ares and Aphrodite. So it's Greek mythologies in here. Like, I don't want to say, it's not a retelling. Basically, it's like the Greek gods during World War II. And Aphrodite has a couple, like, couples, right, that she is trying to bring together during World War II, and obviously that Ares is there as well, and it's all about love in adverse situations. There was always love. Like World War II is going on, and there's still people finding love and loving each other and finding ways to be together, and it's really beautiful. And I remember reading it in only a couple days. It's a beautiful book, and I think it's very underrated. And when I reread this, hopefully I'll have a better way to sell this to you than just telling you that it is Greek mythology, like Greek gods in World War II and their perspectives, mainly Aphrodite and Ares, and Aphrodite retelling love stories that happened during World War II. And it's very sweet, and I think it has a really good message, and I'm sorry that it's so underrated because I want to read more books like that. It's very sweet. Okay, another sip. Okay, now these ones aren't classics. These are going to be like modern classics. The Secret Life of Bees. This was required reading in high school for me. Honestly, don't even know if I annotated it. Oh, see, I have little post-it notes from reading it for a class. Obviously annotated it a little bit. I remember in the class, like, this really struck me. I don't remember why. I remember most of what it's about. So I want to reread it, and I want to know what it was that I found so interesting and intriguing about this. I have another Sue Monk Kid book on this list because I loved her recent release. I want to reread that as well. So I might have to just do a Sue Monk Kid vlog. I haven't read any of her other books. I know she has a ton, but The Secret Life of Bees was a high school required reading for one of my English classes, and it might have just been the discussion. I miss discussing books in, you know, group settings, even if it was just high school. But yeah, and I remember it being very, like, it hit me, and I want to know why again. I want to feel that feel again. You know what I mean? The next book, like I said, Sue Monk Kid, The Book of Longings. I read this book when it came out, 2020 actually, I think it was this year. Was it this year? Oh, actually, this is a book of the month book, so I can just look at the front. Yeah, this book actually came out this year. I want to reread it because I loved it so much. I don't want to annotate it more. I don't want to document reading this book a little bit more. It made me cry. I loved it. I love the premise of it. Basically, this one is about the wife of Jesus, but I want to disclaim that and say that it's done in a very tasteful, interesting, intriguing way that takes the religious aspect out of it and just brings in, like, the life of a woman back then. Like, that is really what you're reading about, is the life of a woman back then, and I love it. And trying to find her, she's like trying to find her way. She writes about other women. She wants to do great things, but has a hard time finding a way to do that in the world that she lives in. And yes, there is a Jesus character that she gets married to, but it's not the essence of the story. It's really just like the hook to get people to read it, I guess. And it's very heartfelt. Highly recommend. I think this was up for the Book of the Month award last year, but it didn't win. I do think our Book of the Year award for Book of the Month didn't win, but it is very good and very intriguing, and I can't wait to read it again. Next, we are officially into the classics, and I'm going to start off with one I can't tell you much about. Love it. Okay. The Awakening by Kate Chopin. This is a feminist book from the 1800s. I've already turned off like half of viewership. This is a feminist book about in the 1800s, literally about a wife and a mother who decides that she's fed up and walks into the ocean and drowns herself. I'm not lying. That's literally what it's about. And I'm gonna reread it. Yeah, I don't know. There's obviously like more to that. It's a big metaphor. There's a reason it's a classic. It says a lot about the lifestyle back then. This woman obviously suffers from depression, anxiety. She can't find her way out because back then there wasn't very many ways out. So ultimately she ends up taking her life. But it's about that journey there to that point and the world around her and how she's perceiving it. And it's beautiful in that way. I don't know. I'm gonna reread this one. Maybe I'll annotate it this time, have deeper thoughts about it, write about it. On the same line, I think it's time for me to reread The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. This was another classic book that I read in college, simply on my own. Like I said, I do enjoy reading classics, and it was pretty profound then. I'm hoping it'll be just as profound now. Hopefully I don't find it overrated. I found that as I get older, I seem to find books like this and The Awakening to be a little bit overrated and a little bit much. But we'll see if I feel the same way about The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. I don't have a good way to describe this one. I can't tell you this as a quick synopsis of this one besides it's just a growing up age story from Esther Greenwood. Apparently is the main character's name. I didn't remember that. Sylvia Plath wrote poetry, if that gives you any, like, this is very lyrical, beautiful writing. It's like that dimension of this that makes me want to read it. Intriguing about that. Let's see. Also, I want to read C.S. Lewis' Till We Have Faces. It's a retelling of the myth of, give me a second, Cupid. Remember, Psyche and Cupid. Cupid falls in love with Psyche. Informs her that she cannot see her, or no, that she cannot see him, like physically has to close her eyes when he's around, but they basically fall in love. And then what happens is she's tricked into opening up her eyes, and then Cupid kills her. But this is a retelling, and I'm interested to reread it again because I don't remember much of it. I think this is when I was coming off from my classic high in college. I read a bunch of classics in college on my own time. And this was when I was like kind of going back to reading normal books, like modern books. And I don't think I absorbed this as much as I wanted to, because it is a very interesting retelling. Like, I'm sick of the Hades and Persephone's retellings, not gonna lie. I enjoyed Percy Jackson and that whole genre that was created in middle grade, but I'm kind of tired of it. So I figured I'll read this. I like The Lovely War enough. Why don't I reread this one as well and see what thoughts I have around this time. It'll literally be like reading a new book, because I don't remember much about this. And that works for me. Next are some more of the classics that everyone rereads. Wuthering Heights. I reread this every few years. This is a new edition. I started to annotate it. I just want to reread it so I can re-annotate it. See where I'm at this time around reading it rather than last time around reading it. My Hopeless Romantic. Is it still there? Do I still love this book? Do I love people doing awful things to each other and reading about it? Maybe. I actually might have a problem with that. Let's not look too closely into that. Okay, moving on. Dracula. Meant to reread this year. I'm gonna reread it. Simple as that. Let's do a Dracula rereading. Need some more gothic literature in my life. The stack of books I'm currently working on over here is very precarious, and I also have a hot mug of tea like sitting right next to it, so wish me luck with that. Okay, and last but not least, East of Eden. This is a new edition that I got. I actually have a really old library edition of this, which I would show you, but to most people it's pretty boring. To me, I absolutely love it. It's the first edition I ever read of this. You can obviously tell it was done with a typewriter. It has the true envelope edges. It's a beautiful edition of it that I personally love. Like I said, most people would find it to be pretty not interesting, but I do. But anyways, I want to do the same thing as with the others. I want to annotate this new edition. I've reread this in 2019, or at the beginning of 2020. So it's been a year that I haven't read this year. So definitely want to make sure I make a point of that in 2022. All right, there you go. All the books. Tell me what books you want to reread next year. Do you reread books? Because obviously I have an issue with rereading books, and I need to reread more often, obviously, because either I read them too fast and I don't absorb, or I read them so long ago that I forget why I loved them and why they are on my shelf. And I feel like that is the perfect time to go back and revisit a book. Anyways, hopefully I gave an okay synopsis for most of these books. If I didn't, tell me, and I will try to do better in the comments for you. I want to sell books to everybody all the time. Read them so that we can discuss them. Or I can yell at you about them. Anyways, subscribe. I should be reading one of these books every single month. Hold me to it. Like the video so that I can know whether or not I should do more of like these accountability videos. Granted, they're more for me. Hopefully you're enjoying them as well. We'll see. But thanks for joining me today to rant about books, and hopefully I will see you guys in another video.